Greetings everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Challenges Guide. Now for those of you who are new to this series, or those that need a bit of a refresher, the Weekly Challenges are a set of 5 events that go live Thursday night, Friday morning, depending on your region. These usually consist of 4 races or in a game that may need to be unlocked depending on your progress, while the 5th is a special event, a 1-make race, a mission challenge, a time trial, whichever usually goes up that week. So, let's look at what is in store this time around. We kick things off with the American FR Challenge 550. This is a 2-lap race around Willow Springs International Raceway, Big Willow, and of course requires a road car from the United States with an FR drivetrain. So you can see some of those examples right there. So I'm going to pull out something I haven't actually driven in quite some time, and that's this modified Corvette here. No real comfortable setup just yet, so I don't feel comfortable sharing that, but let's take a lap around here and see how to get around. So, here we are, going down the straightaway. And we've got a brake right about the 100 mark here, in the 3rd gear, through turn 1, or Castro Corner. Accelerate right on out. And then we're heading up to what is known as the Rabbit's Ear. And I usually like to hang around in 4th gear here, as 3rd gear is like bounces off the revs a little too much, so 4th gear is a lot smoother I found. Then I accelerate right about here. And next brake at turn 3 into 2nd gear. Then we go for turn 4 and 5, that's 2nd gear. I usually turn tight like this so I can just accelerate right on out over here for 6. And then 7, 2nd gear, and then accelerate right about here. I'm very careful about my throttle output through Monroe Ridge. There's a bump there that if you're not careful it will throw you right off. So, there's a lot of the kink here before we throw it through the sweeper. And get ourselves set up, and then down to 4th gear. I like to just float it right to the top here, then go right down and accelerate right on out in turn 9. So now we're on to the back stretch, or front stretch, excuse me, and that is a lap around Willow Springs International Raceway, Big Willow. So now on to the race itself. So, best spots for overtaking I found were through Castro Corner, the Rabbit's Ear, carry a lot of momentum there, through turn 3, Monroe Ridge, and through turn 9. Beware the AI though at Budweiser Balcony, Wings Leg, and turn 9, because they do tend to bunch up quite a bit. They'll hog the lines and tend to brake twice as much, so if you're doing a clean race bonus, that is something to be aware of. Next, the European Clubman Cup 600. This is a 3-lap race at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit and features a road car from the following countries here. Obviously 600 performance points being the suggested amount. So I'm going to pull out this car here since I just love driving this thing. This BMW 3.0 CSL. Again, no comfortable setup I feel comfortable sharing just yet, but I'll take it around for a lap anyways. So, we're heading up here to the first turn here. The Paddock Hill Bend. 3rd gear is what I usually tend to use. That feels comfortable to me. So we're right on out here. Pilgrim's Rise. Down to 2nd here for Druids. And accelerate right about as you get to here. That curbing will pretty much save you. Then down to 2nd for Graham Hill Bend. And so right on out, and down the Cooper Straight we go. And we're right about there at that marker there for Surtees. But this time, of course, we're on the longer circuit, so we're not using McLaren this time around. We're instead accelerating right down through here. We'll drive through Pilgrim's Drop and right into Hawthorne Bend, 3rd gear. Just put that marker, lean in hard here. And then we're going to Westfield Bend. Usually keep it in 3rd gear there. Be careful when you do. So up through Dingledell before we then headed to Sheen's. Again, careful there. And this one sometimes will catch me out. Skirling's there. And as you can see there, it's caught me out today, unfortunately. So accelerate right down to Clearways. And then just before that mark, we're to Clark Curve. And then we accelerate down the Brabham Straight here. And that is a lap around Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit here. Now, on to the race itself. So, best spots I found for overtaking are Paddock Hill Bend through Ram Hill Bend, Hawthorne's Bend and Westfield Bend, as well as Sterling's Bend and Clark Curve. Beware the AI through Surtees, Dingledale, and Sheen Curve. You know, again, it's the same issue with the other race there. Lots of braking, and they tend to be all over the place with their lines. So if you're doing a clean race mode, it's something to take into consideration. Next, the Race of Turbo Sports Cars. This is a 5-lap race at Fuji International Speedway. Of course, this requires a car with 700 performance points or less, and it's a turbocharged car. And you can see many of those examples right there. So I am going today for yet another old favorite that I haven't done in a while. This is this Jaguar XJ220 that I've done in the style of the LM race car. So here we are down the front straightaway right here. We're gonna get to this corner. Brake all the way to second gear for turn 1, or what is also called Daichi. So right down here through turn 2. And then right here down to third gear for Coca-Cola corner. Click that curve right there. And then one of my favorite corners, the 100R. I love to float the accelerator up here and then get right on there. That's how I usually make up a lot of time at this track. Into the hairpin, turn 6. Accelerate right out to this curve here. Through turn 7. Of course, we're going on through turn 8 and 300R. Before we get to second gear, just before break before that sign there, before we get to Dunlop corner. A lot of slow series of corners there, so you gotta be very patient, as tempting as it is. Through 13. And it's a lot of curb clipping I found to be very useful, both in setting you up for the corners and knowing exactly where it is. So we go through Nets corner right here. And then this one's really important to set up for Panasonic, where you can get right about here and then accelerate right there. The best possible exit down this long front straightaway. One of the longer straightaways, usually on the Formula 1 calendar, as well as the Super GT calendar. And so that is a lap around Fuji Speedway. And now on to the race itself. So, the places I found most ideal for overtaking tend to be turn 1, 100R, because you can carry so much of that momentum on the outside, and Dunlop corner and Panasonic corner. Again, good setups. Beware the AI and Coca-Cola corner, and the airpin, 300R, and turn 11. And of course, you have your usual 4 opponents here to look out for, including that Maserati. Next is the World Touring Car 800. This is 20 laps with 6 times fuel use and 3 times tire wear at high speed ring. Of course, you got your tires there and your performance points. Now you could use a Group 3 car here, but you can also cheese it a bit. And one car I like using to cheese here, because I don't even have to make any adjustments for it, is the BMW McLaren F1 GTR, which, let me find this, here it is. So yeah. So let's do a lap around here at high speed ring. And obviously, pretty flat going into turn 1 there. You don't even have to worry about it. Then go to the top and then go to the bottom to carry all that speed. And of course we get to this corner here, turn 2. Then to brake right about the 100 mark. Third gear. And the downforce will pretty much carry you on the bottom all the way through. And of course, right across this bridge here before we get to turn 3 and 4. Second gear. There's a good bit of the curve to turn the car there. And there's 4. We do a bit of the same and accelerate right about there as you see that yellow bit in the guardrail. So flying through this tunnel into 5, and then of course into 6, which I don't brake. I get off the gas, let it ride up, and then accelerate because you got a lot of banking and you got a lot of downforce. Just let that hold you there, and you'll be just fine. So down the front stretch we go. And that is a lap of the high-speed rig, a very fun one. And now, on to the race itself. So for here, racing mediums, I found tend to be the only tire you'll want. A good range of grip and durability, but watch that right side tire wear though. One stop, that main strategy, depending on lap 10, at least for me. Rain is possible, so I have intermediates and wets ready just in case. And of course, if you just want to cheese this race like I've done with no adjustments, the BMW McLaren F1 GTR and the Mercedes CLK LM, your best bets overall. Again, no adjustments whatsoever, somehow they fit in the performance points. And finally, the special race here, the Ferrari 296 GTB 1 make. It's a 6-lap race around Monza, because why not? And the Ferrari 296 GTB. So, gonna get my challenge car built. And we're gonna go for it here. No saves for the time being, but let's do it. So here we are, down the front stretch here, very descended. I'm gonna go on the brakes right about there, the 200 marker, just because this car is very peculiar. And we're gonna get into the Variante del Raceway through here. And then we get on the throttle. Now luckily for me, I have some downforce on my car, so I can pretty much take this flat out. And you sort of can, you just have to be very careful where you aim the car. Of course, we brake right out here before the 150 mark for Della Raja. 3rd gear. And then accelerate. And you can take that in 2nd gear too, if that helps you out. I go to the Lesbos, that's my 1 here. 3rd gear. And I accelerate right about as I see the curving over there. And again, 3rd gear. And I tend to usually use that curve there to sort of tell me when to accelerate. And so we're going to go right down this back straight here, the Curva del Seraglio. Sorry if I butchered that. So, brake the 3rd gear for Variante Ascari here. I tend to be very careful when applying the throttle there. This car has so much torque because of that hybrid, so you want to be very careful when you apply the throttle. So now we go down here and get ready for Curva Parabolica. And brake right about the 100 mark here. 3rd gear, hug the inside a little bit, then accelerate right about there. And those tire tracks usually give you a good indication of where to get on the accelerator. And that is a lap around Monza. So now, on to the race itself. So, ideal passing spots I found were, of course, the Variante del Raceway, turns 1 and 2. Of course, the Della Raja, Lesbos 1 and 2, and Parabolica, where the AI and the Curva del Seraglio, as well as Variante Ascari, again for the same issues mentioned earlier. And brake straight and early. Have racing brakes if that helps. So that's it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Whether you just logged in or haven't logged in quite some time. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, share, subscribe, and the bell icon to get these Fridays at 1 p.m. So that's it for me. I will see you guys in the next video.